Schlafer?
That would be just fine. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you. Mr. Patton is going to ask the first 12 questions, and then each board member, all dependent upon how much time is remaining, is going to be able to ask a personal question or a question that we feel near and dear to our heart. So, Mr. Patton, if you would lead us off.
Sounds great. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Schlafer, thank you for being here. I've made the remark with the other candidates, and I'll make it to you too. It takes a significant amount of courage to volunteer for this position. It's one of tremendous responsibility and tremendous, sometimes, public scrutiny. So thank you for being here, and we certainly appreciate it. What do you consider the foremost responsibilities of the superintendent and the skills that are needed for success?
Thank you for the question, and if I may, Mr. Patton, I would just like to thank the board for the opportunity to share conversation with you this afternoon on a Saturday afternoon. I know you're giving up your time to do this, and from one who has sat where you are sitting for 13 years, this is the most important decision that you will make. It impacts our school system moving forward, and I understand that because I've been there. I also know that there are 3 of you that I have actually served with on this board, and been blessed to make some really positive decisions going forward for our school system. There are people on this board who have made a significant impact in the lives of my children by teaching them, interacting with them, by, in some cases, putting up with them. And so to Mr. Brock, to Mr. Inman, to Mr. Netherton, thank you for the influence that you've had on my children and on my family. I'm proud to have had our children come through the Cumberland County school system. I believe they've turned out all right because of what they learned at Martin and across the street at Cumberland County High School. You know, I'm very proud of Danielle, who is now a physician at Emory University Medical Center, and TD now has a law degree. And so we're blessed, and they're from the Cumberland County school system, so I know how integral this system is in the lives of people and the difference that you make, and so I'm humbled and grateful by that. And so to your question, Mr. Patton, the responsibilities of a director of schools are multifaceted, certainly administrative in nature, in order to ensure that things run smoothly and that there are working relationships within the school system that provide positive outcomes for our employees and most importantly for our students. Financial management is such a key factor, and in this era today, now more than ever, we're going to have to scrutinize every penny. So you're going to need someone who knows how to do that and can take care of the taxpayers' money and use it in the most wise fashion that we can to maximize what we're doing. I'm going to turn this off so it doesn't do that anymore. Certainly the director of schools has charge over personnel in making sure that our personnel are given the support that they need, that they have the guidance that they need from board policy perspective, that they are aware of what local, state, and national laws impact their work. And I think it's incumbent on the director of schools to ensure that those we employ are told and are taught and are shown what's the right way to go about doing the job, because that has a major impact on the delivery of instruction. Community and public relations are key. And we are the center of the universe for families who have children in Cumberland County. Everything revolves around what we do in our communities and in our city and county as a whole. So it's incumbent on the director of schools to be available to the community, to be present in good times and in bad, to tell the truth, to be transparent, to share information so that people don't wonder what's happening or what will perhaps happen next. And to that end, I just want to throw this out as an aside. I think when we have inclement weather, I think a policy that says we're going to try our very best to make the call the night before, but if we can't, in good conscience, make a great call on the night before, surely no later than 5 a.m. the next morning, you're going to know whether we'll be in school or whether we won't. I think it's hard as a director of schools on this plateau to make that call because the weather comes and goes so quickly and it changes. And I don't fault anybody, any director in the past who struggled with that decision. But I'm going to say to you now that my policy as your director is going to include a task force of inclement weather people to begin that discussion the night before and to make that decision by 5 o'clock in the morning so that parents will know what to do with their children and whether or not they're going to work on time or who's going to take care of them. So that's a promise that I make and that I take on willingly because I see how impactful that decision is in our community and that people really need to know. So skills for a director of schools, obviously, office management, the tools that you use to do your job, whether they be computers, word processing, computer programs, our student information system. Knowing how to use those tools effectively is important. Planning projects, preparing budgets, analyzing spreadsheets, analyzing data. All of those are skills that go with hand in hand in a daily use from the director of schools and from his office. Administering policies and procedures and doing that on a consistent basis and not selectively deciding which rules we're going to follow and which rules we won't. And I'm not necessarily saying that anyone has done that in the past, but consistency is key. And if there's a policy, we're going to follow it. And if it's not good policy, we're going to change it. And things do change. They ebb and flow. They evolve. And I've been a part of authoring board policy. I know what that's like. I've sat in the boardroom at Tennessee School Boards Association and helped draft policy for school boards. I've conferred with folks at the State Department of Education about board policy, had a consultant, a core consultant, call me as I was coming out of a school in Chattanooga 2 months ago going, hey Dan, what's the board policy about this? And this is someone from the State Department of Education. So policy is something that I'm passionate about. It's something that I've grown into, that I certainly did not know early in my career as a teacher, but have grown to know as my life and jobs have evolved and as I've worked in central offices since 2006. So knowing board policy and following board policy, no matter who your daddy is, who your mama is, how much money you have, where you live, where you don't live, what school you go to or don't go to, the rule is the rule is the rule. And it's going to apply to everyone. And if it's not a good rule, this body is going to change it so that it becomes a good rule. So I think policies are paramount. Facilitating meetings, knowing how to deal with a diverse group of people. And I think finally, your director of schools needs to be a listener. You've got to listen. You know, my dad always used to tell me, son, you got 2 ears, you've got 1 mouth. Use them in that proportion and you'll be fine. So a great communicator is one who listens more than he talks, he or she talks. And you have to hear people. They are paying our salaries. We're working for them. They're not working for us. And so if we can humble ourselves and listen, they have something to say. It may not be the correct thing, may not be the right thing, but it's on their heart, and they need to say it, and they need to be heard. And under my administration, every single person who approaches this office, who approaches me, is going to be heard. I promise you that.
Thank you. What do you consider to be your greatest strengths as a potential director of schools?
You know, thank you for that question, because on my right shoulder, every single day of my life sits my dad. And he used to say to me regularly, son, if what you did today, yesterday, is still important to you today, you haven't done much today. So go do something today. So he's always right there. But today, on this shoulder, I've got Coach Paul Bear Bryant. Let me take you back to the spring of 1974. I'm a 22-year-old, freshly graduated Carson Newman College, about to be football coach. And I went to a coaching clinic just right before Bear Bryant died. And one of the first things he said to that group of people, and I was sitting in the front row in the middle, was, fellas, if you done it, it ain't bragging. So today, I'm going to show respect to my dad by letting him know that I'm going to humbly tell you why I think I have the qualities that are needed to be a director of schools. And I'm going to say humbly because I have been blessed. I have had amazing experiences in my life that have been provided by other people who have given me a chance, who have said, hey, come on, I think you can do this job. And when I look in my rear view, I cannot believe what I see or where I've been or what I've been able to do. But all of those things have brought me to this moment and to this position, a position that I very much want to do. And for these reasons, I believe I have a servant's heart. And I don't think you can be a leader unless you can serve other people, unless you can be humble and take care of what they need. I think I have a sense of humor. And I think that goes a long way in a tense situation or not knowing what somebody's going to say next or what kind of pun they're going to pull out of their back pocket. A sense of humor sometimes is just what is needed to calm people and to get them all at the same place. I think I'm caring. I think I'm compassionate. I'm disciplined. I'm dedicated. I'm determined. I think I'm knowledgeable about this world. And again, that's from years of experience in all kinds of positions that I'll talk to you about in just a second. I do know that on a national level, on a state level, and on a local level, many people have expressed their respect for me. I had a supervisor in Nashville in the Office of Federal Programs one day say, hey, Dan, I want to tell you something. You put the pro in federal programs. He said, you're such a professional. And I strive to be. I strive to be. Because my dad always used to say, you do whatever you do as if it's unto the Lord. And you give it your best. You do all you can. You leave no stone unturned. And you get the job done right the first time. Every time. I do believe I'm a listener. I'm honest. I'm ethical. I'm loyal. I'm friendly. I love to learn. I think I'm creative. I think I can express myself. I think I'm articulate. And I think more than anything else, if you haven't had the chance, I would point to my experience. I would love for you to look at the resume that I provided. I'd like for you to take a firsthand look at the bio that I provided. And I also want you to look at my website. That's dansplans.com. And look at their website and look at the experiences and things that I have done. Look what people say about me, the people that I have worked with closely in tense situations over federal law that involved folks coming in and issuing compliance action plans. You've got to do this better in Title VI or Title IX of federal law. And one of the things you've got to do is bring in somebody who knows what he's talking about. And I have done that several places. And when you look at the website, you'll see what they have said about my work. I have the privilege to have taught every grade level, K through 12. Didn't plan it, but I've done that. I have taught and coached and been an athletics director for 20 years. I have a personal relationship with the TSSAA. I sit on their board as ex officio member of the Board of Control and as an ex officio member of the Legislative Council. So I'm there every time they meet, and I know exactly how that process works. And just last month was able to usher through a change in the bylaws that originated at Cumberland County High School through the head baseball coach, the principal, and the athletic director. And that change in the bylaws was enacted. It wasn't a unanimous vote, but it was a good vote, and I got to be part of that. That's humbling for me. So I've been a principal. I've been a high school principal for a decade. And I took over a high school that had the lowest attendance rate, the highest dropout rate, and the lowest test scores. We completely turned that around at Tellico Plains High School. And we became the school that went worst to first in every quantifiable category. We made adequate yearly progress in No Child Left Behind every single year in every category that was quantified while I was there. The TSSAA named me the 2002 Principal of the Year. And so I have the experience of being a high school principal, and I know how that works and what a tough job that is. I've been a central office supervisor since 2006, first in Monroe County as federal programs director, then in Cumberland County, and now in the 5th largest public education provider in the state of Tennessee, in Hamilton County. And I'll work backwards because, as you know, I retired July 1st. And I thought that was a thing to do at that time. And as I've told many people, there were days that I enjoyed, but there were days that I was just miserable. I missed it. I missed being a part of helping kids, of doing things that made a difference. I missed answering emails, answering phone calls, having people come by. I missed being needed. I missed it. And so I retired July 1st. And in the middle of September, when I was on vacation, I got a call from the Hamilton County School System saying, hey, would you consider coming back to work? And I said, yeah, I would. And so now I'm working in federal programs in Hamilton County with 44,500 students, with over 3,000 teachers, with 70 schools, 51 of them as Title I schools. And I'm helping manage $15 million in Title I money alone, and helping a new federal programs director who has not done this job before understand what it means to navigate federal programs waters. And I've enjoyed it. I've loved every single minute of it. It's been a great learning experience for me to go from a small rural system into a large urban district, which is a high-performing district. And I've learned from the people in that central office, and by the way, there are 150 people in the central office alone in Hamilton County. But they're all such talented people. And you know, you can't help but learn if you just listen to what goes on and you see the organization and the administration of what they do. So I've been a part of that. And I've played a significant role for Hamilton County. I think they would tell you that. In Cumberland County, I was able to play a significant role in federal programs and to get us in compliance in so many areas where we needed an upgrade. Our budget is stable, and 21st century programs are now recognized statewide as the best in Tennessee. And in Monroe County, as in Cumberland County, when we were monitored under federal programs, we always received the highest marks. And so those things, I realize that's a lengthy answer. It is a lengthy answer. But I've had experiences that other people haven't had the privilege to have. Why I got them, I don't know. And you've got great candidates. But I have a wealth of experience that you're not going to find anywhere else simply because of where I've been and what I've been able to do.
Thank you. If selected, explain your strategies for a successful transition period.
Yes, that's critical. And I think, first and foremost, when you are looking at a transition period with someone like me, you're dealing with someone who already knows everyone in this building and already knows most everyone else in the system. So they know how I operate and what I do and how I do things. And so that won't be a stretch at all. But I think it would be important for me to meet with each department in this building and to get a feel for where they are and how I can help them. You know, what can I do to make things better for you? What are some concrete things that you wish you had, that you wish we would do, that we are not now doing, that I can help you do? I think it will be important for me to have individual meetings with each board member, one-on-one, social distanced, at a time that is convenient to you before July 1st, so I can hear from you. What do you like about our school system? What don't you like? What do you wish we do? What do you wish we don't do? What are you looking for in someone who's working for you? And I understand what it's like and what it means to work for somebody. And you are my employer, and I want to please you, and I want to do what's right. So it's important for me to talk with you. I think it's important for me to reach out to CCEA, Cumberland County Education Association, and our teachers. You know, they're what drive the train here. And if we've got unhappy teachers, I want to find out why, and I want to fix it. If we've got things that they need that they don't have, I want to see what we can do to get it. If there are changes that need to be made, I need to hear from CCEA. I need to reach out to the county mayor and the county commission in transition. I need to reach out to the city mayor and to the city council in transition, knowing that this is an unprecedented time and that they're going to have nothing but total cooperation from me and from our school system as we move forward and as we navigate this together. Now, Mr. Patton, on Monday of this week, there's another transition piece that I think we've got to address, and that's considerations for reopening the Cumberland County school system. I have a document here, and I'm not going to read it, but I'm going to give you each a copy. And should I give this to you or to Ms. Bray to give out? Okay. So I wrote this. Yes. Would you please? I wrote this past Monday as I was working from home, knowing that we've got to have a plan. And I'm one who always wants to plan ahead and to see things coming before they hit us. And so these are considerations that hit me from my experience as a teacher, a coach, as a principal, as a school board member, as an athletics director, as someone who's been in central office since 2006, knowing that we're going to have a plan. And I'm going to tell you, right now, like you, I'm concerned. 1,000 people a day are still dying from COVID-19. Cumberland County has almost as many active cases as does Knox County. That's not something that you turn a blind eye or a deaf ear to. So we're going to have to be thoughtful about our approach. we're going to have a plan to gradually reopen, and things are not going to look the same. I am just almost positive. I don't see how we can jump back in and have things be as normal. When yesterday afternoon at Stone Memorial High School, they allowed only 12 children at a time, 12 seniors at a time in the building. They had to do that for the safety and the security of our children and for the people that work for us. So this is something that I've created that if you want to talk to me about later on, we can do that. I don't need to go into vivid detail here. I've outlined it, and you have my phone number. I'll be glad to talk to you about my vision for reopening the Cumberland County school system when it's safe to do so.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Safdie, for your benefit, and I wish I could get a copy of this to you, Mr. Schlafer's provided everyone a draft of considerations for reopening schools after COVID-19. And I know that was important to you, and I want to make sure you knew that. Mr. Schlafer, how would you develop and nurture relations and support from the Board of Education, students, staff, and community?
And that's key. And that's one of my strengths. And to the Board of Education, I can promise you, you'll have constant communication. You may get more than you want. And if you don't want as much as I'm going to give you, all you got to do is tell me. But I'm one who is an information sharer. And if I know it, you're going to know it unless it's confidential. I think you're going to see from me an honesty and a work ethic. You're going to see a positive presence and a transparency. You're going to see preparation, like what you've just seen here. And I know that each of you are individuals and that each of you have strong feelings, and those will all be respected. I know that there are many of you who perhaps may have a suggestion that I've not heard of or thought of, and I want that information, and I want you to feel free to share it with me. But more than anything, you need to understand that I'm going to work for you and that I am going to earn my money. I will come early, I will stay late, I will work weekends and nights, I'll do whatever it needs to be done, whenever it needs to be done, and I'll give it the best that I've got. And so from that perspective, you know, I'll tell you that I will include you in decisions. And while I say that, I share with you that I have a strong relationship with the executive director of the Tennessee Organization of School Superintendents, Dale Lynch. He's a close friend, and he sits on the TSSAA Board of Control. I have a strong relationship with Francesco Negron, the chief legal officer for the National School Boards Association. He and I go way back, and I know many people in the office at NSBA in Alexandria, Virginia, that I think will help our working relationship and make us better. As you know, I was blessed to be a part of TSBA, and I know every single person in that building by name and have their cell phone numbers. We can get answers as quickly as dialing a number. You already know my connection with TSSAA, and that's going to help us be stronger. You know, I want us to be stronger in athletics in Cumberland County. And then what you may not know is that I also have a strong relationship with TESOL. That's Tennessee Teachers of English to Speakers of Other Languages. I served on their board for 3 years. I was their treasurer for 3 years. And so the people that, because I've been blessed and because I've had opportunities drop in my lap, all of those things working together that come into the relationship that you and I will have, I think make us better. And it excites me that I have those connections that we can bring right now to Cumberland County. For students, they're going to see me. They're going to see me. I'm going to be in schools every day that I'm in town and I'm not away at some meeting that I'm compelled to be at. You're going to see me in a school. I won't be in every school every day, but I think it's important for the director of schools to be present, to be someone who sits down at a table with a bunch of kids and has lunch uninvited and unplanned. And just to listen and say, hey, how's it going? What are you doing? I think we're going to have more student input and create some student advisory councils at schools to hear what's on their heart and mind. And I think more than anything, children and everybody else needs to be recognized. And so there's going to be recognition of great student work and children who go above and beyond and do things that make us proud. They're going to hear from me and hear from us. From staff, I want to say this to anybody who's listening in the recorded version that's going to go out tonight. My whole purpose is not to overpower. My purpose is to empower. I want to give you power. I'm not here to catch you doing something wrong. I'm here to give you power to do something right, to do many somethings right. Proverbs 27:17 says, as iron sharpens iron, so we should sharpen each other. To me, what that means is every time you have a conversation with me, you ought to walk away better. Every time I have a conversation with you, you ought to walk away better. Iron sharpening iron doesn't mean I cut you. It doesn't mean I cut you. It means I make you better. You tell me something that I didn't know. And I guarantee you there's one board member who knows who I'm talking to, who knows has made me better just by conversation. And you all have, but I think that's what our staff needs to hear. You know, I'm here to empower excellence in everyone, not to overpower, not to use my power. Certainly, we're going to hold ourselves accountable. You're going to hold me accountable. I'm going to hold you accountable. We're going to do the right thing. But my job is to make you better and to make you feel better about yourself. I want to provide the tools that you need to do your job, to support you, to listen to you, and to ask, what can I do for you? What do you need? What do you need? How can I make you better? That's my message to staff and to the community. You're going to realize early on that I know what side my bread's buttered on. Your tax dollars pay my salary, pay our salary. I will be an humble leader, and I'm going to realize who I work for, and I'm going to give it everything I've got. I'm going to be highly visible in a community and attend community functions that my schedule will allow. And to me, you're going to have access to me. You're going to have access to me when you need me. I'm going to provide, and I'm telling you here and now, I'm going to provide everyone in this community my personal cell phone number. And that means you don't have to go through anybody else. You can come to me. I may have to refer you when I hear what your situation is. You're going to know my cell number, and I'm going to encourage you to use it. Whether you live here, work here, or a student here, or a parent here, you're going to have access to me because that's my job. And so that's how I plan to develop and nurture relationships.
Thank you. What steps would you take to ensure academic excellence in the school district?
Yeah, so that's what we're all about, and I'm going to come at it from a different perspective, really, just because of the situation we find ourselves in and because what I feel is something way different than at any time in my life that I have felt. For me, our number one deal right now is social emotional learning. What we've got to do is we've got to take care of the whole child. We've got to take care of the whole employee. We've got to take care of our people. If they are not physically, emotionally, socially, spiritually in a spot where they can learn, they're not going to learn. And that's why I think what Scott Hull does with our counselors and with the outreach into our buildings now, so much going on, so much need in our community. And trust me, I know what it feels like to be needy. I've been there. I've been at a spot where, I didn't know how we were going to survive. And many people are like that now in our community. They've lost their jobs. So, if we're going to provide academic excellence, to me, we've got to get at the whole child, and we've got to help what's hurting right now. And we're way understaffed, and it's going to be a focus of mine to fix that. And I don't know how just yet we're going to do it with the money that we have, but we have to have more support for social emotional learning and for taking care of the whole child for physical, emotional, social needs, as well as academics. Now, with academics, it starts with high expectations. And I fully believe that people rise to the level of their expectation. We've got great teachers and leaders here. I've seen it. I've seen it every day for 4 years. We have some incredible teachers. We have to continue to get better every single day. You can ask folks in the federal programs office. One of the things that I would say as we're going out the door was, ladies, did we get better today? Are we better today than we were yesterday because we walked in the door? And that will always be my focus. We also have to hire great people. I'm going to make a reference to Hamilton County. They've got a person, Miss Bray, who's called the Chief Talent Officer. The Chief Talent Officer. They're hunting for talent, looking for talent. We want you here. That's why they reached out to me, blew me away. I'm sitting by a swimming pool. Hey, we want you, Dan Schlafer. We know you can help us. Okay, so we got to hire great people, and then we got to keep them. And I realize that perhaps maybe it might not be the high salary that we pay that keeps them, but there could be some other things that we do for them that keeps them, that they feel valued, that they feel appreciated, that they feel supported, that they're given opportunities to advance, that we hire from within. Those things are key ingredients, and that they know there's someone here that's going to be their cheerleader and going to do whatever it takes to get them what they need. I think also professional learning is critical to educational excellence, and that's one of the things that I'm really proud of that I brought into play here in the Cumberland County school system. And Chairman Boston, I remember vividly, you came back from your first training at TSBA, and I heard you talk in a board meeting about things they were talking about that you probably ought to be doing in your school system. And you sat right there and you said, and you know what? We're already doing them. I remember it well, and it made me so happy that you felt that way. Because one of the things that I did to improve academic excellence was when I hit town here and I looked at, we were spending $250,000 a year sending people away to professional development. I thought, you know what, we can use that money better. And we can put in some academic coaches, an EL coach, English language arts coach, Don Hall, my gracious, a math coach, Patricia Overstreet, a technology coach, Rachel Flowers. What would we do without them? Okay, so professional development, I'm proud we do a great job with that here, and we're going to do more of that.
What are some strategies you will use for ongoing professional relationships with all staff that are both respectful and earned, including certified and non-certified staff?
Yeah, I think many of the things that I have just shared, Mr. Patton, apply to that question as well. I think we've got to create a positive climate, a culture of excellence, of inclusion, of respect, of dignity. I think we need to listen more than we talk. I think we need to recognize the value that each person brings, no matter what their job is. I think we need to be present in good times and in bad times. We need to support each other. And one of the things that I've always shared as an administrator is that we need to become significant and indispensable. We do significant things every day that people go, wow, he did that for me. And when you continue to do that, then we as leaders become indispensable. And by that I mean somebody says, I don't know what we did without you. And that was the challenge I had to the new team in federal programs, and the challenge I've had to everyone who's ever worked for me. Be significant, be indispensable, treat each other with dignity and respect, have a positive climate and culture, and we'll be fine.
Have you ever been fired or asked to voluntarily leave employment? And if so, what did you learn from that experience?
I'm so glad you asked that question. I can't stand it. I love it. So the answer to that question is, one, no, I have not been fired. I have been non-renewed on April 11th, 1995, when, as the Cumberland County Board of Education at that time opened their meeting with a prayer, they voted to non-renew me because I said a prayer. And those are the facts. Those are the facts. I said a prayer for a sick child at a pep rally at Cumberland County High School before a Friday night football game. He had played in a Thursday night game, thought he'd broken his rib, and what we found was a lemon-sized tumor on his lung. And he went to Nashville, called me from Nashville at Cumberland County High School. I didn't have a cell phone then, none of us did. I was called to the office by Jane Way. There was the young man on the phone going, Coach, will you please pray for me? And I had always, before practice, after practice, he was scared to death. I said, of course I will, and I did. And so there were folks who felt like I should not have done that. And out of that, I was non-renewed. Along with that, there were 5 other charges levied against me that later on a federal district judge said, and I quote, were frivolous, groundless, and meritless. Now, I'm not a lawsuit kind of guy, but I'm going to tell you, CCEA came and swallowed me up, and they helped me, and they guided me through the legal process, and I didn't have to pay a dime. And it went through various stages and ended up in federal district court, and Judge Eccles, I will never forget the name, said, no, what you did was wrong, and there needs to be a jury trial. And the Cumberland County Board of Education said, no, we'd rather settle. And I said, fine, because all I wanted was the truth to come out and for someone who knew to go, no, you didn't do that right. That man didn't do what you said he did. And these other things that you charged him with are false, okay? So, and I never said that I didn't pray, because I did. I did. You know, a young man asked me to pray for him, and so I did. And so, you know, what did I learn from this? Well, I'll tell you what I learned. I learned there are a lot of great people in Cumberland County, and they supported me and loved me, people I didn't even know. That's what I learned. I learned that I could take my own advice, the advice that I had given to every football player I'd ever coached, and that was, son, you get knocked down, get back up. Get back up. Fight again. Do what's right. You might get knocked down, but you're not going to stay down. And I took that advice, and I got back up, because I'm going to tell you, at that time, that was the deepest, darkest personal and professional hour of my life. But guess what? It became the biggest and best personal and professional blessing I've ever had, by far, by far. Because look at my career before then, and before then there was nothing wrong with what I was doing. I'd had a great run, and all I wanted to do was coach football. But I had to go in another direction, and I got an EDS. That gave me the opportunity to be a high school principal and all the things that came with that. And then it gave me an opportunity to be a central office supervisor and to come back and work here and show people who I am, what I can do, how I can help. And so I'm grateful for that 5-4 vote, at the time, I was brokenhearted. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had 2 small children, a mortgage, and was living on half the money that we were making, less than half, really. But you know what? Lord looked after me, and here I am, asking to be your director of schools. And, you know, I'm blessed beyond measure. I learned a great deal from that. And one of the things I also learned, Mr. Patton, is from that. I really hadn't paid much attention to school law, but I got immersed in school law through that process. Federal programs is all about law. And, you know, I've had many wonderful conversations about school law with Mr. Patton and other attorneys who have befriended me, and now I have a son who has a law degree. It's just amazing, you know, what I've learned about law because of that incident. And one final thing, and this is to anybody who's listening here and maybe listening later, I'm not going to put up with anybody being mistreated. It's not going to happen on my watch. You know, if you've done something wrong, you know, we're going to deal with that. But if you're being railroaded, I'm going to step in the middle of that, and I'm going to say, no, 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 no. And I have done that before, and I've done that from my seat on the board when an employee was about to be railroaded, and we put a stop to that. So I know what's right and wrong, and I will fight for what's right.
What are the qualities of a good teacher?
You know, I think a teacher has to be called to be effective. It's a calling. It's not a job. It's not a paycheck thing. I think they've got to genuinely care about children. I think they have to be intelligent. I think they have to be energetic. They have to share ideas, be willing to learn. I think they have to have integrity and ethics. I think they have to follow policy, and they have to get better every day. We have great teachers who fit that description, who do such an amazing job, and I've been in classrooms in every school building in this system, and we have some amazing teachers who are making a difference in children's lives. But I think the biggest thing for me is that a teacher has to really want to be here for the right reason and care about kids.
Thank you, sir. How would you develop and maintain high morale among employees?
Many of the things that I've already said apply. I think being consistent, being real, being transparent, being honest, being open, being friendly, being supportive, recognizing people, getting to know people, having relationships with people, that's the key to any great organization. And if we're going to have great morale, I think I have to lead the way. I have to lead by example. I have to show you what it looks like to be a good team member. I have to be willing to learn from people who work together in this school system, because I don't know all the answers. And there are people who know many things that I do not know. But you know what? If we go out of our way to treat people with dignity and with respect, what you give away comes back to you. And that's what I'm after. You know, I want people to wake up in the morning going, man, I cannot wait to get there. I cannot wait to go do what we're about to do. You know, I'm about to go make a difference, and I'm going to be better at the end of the day. And my kids are going to be better at the end of the day. That's what I want. I don't want people going, man, I'm not sure I want to go to work today, or looking for a reason to call in sick. I want it to be an electric atmosphere where everybody fits, where everybody belongs, where the culture and climate are positive and healthy, and where we love each other and where we support each other.
What strategies would you use for staff that are not meeting the educational and social needs of students?
I'm going to ask 2 questions. And the first question would be, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And then the second question would be, what can I do to help? Now, let me go back to the first question. Why is it happening? It may very well be that it's a social emotional issue. It may very well be that there's something going on at home. There's something going on in their personal life that's out of their control, and they don't know what to do about it. And in that case, I can refer that teacher, that person, that employee to our employee assistance program and get them some help. Maybe help them get a leave of absence. I did this as a principal. I had a teacher who lost a parent and was just distraught. She could not function. Okay, well, it's crazy to ask her to try to function in a classroom. Okay, take some time off. Take some Family Medical Leave Act. Get yourself together. Come back when you're ready. That's one way you can help. Okay, so you answer why is this and get to the root cause. Okay, what can I do to help in that situation? I'm going to get you the support you need. Okay, why is this happening? You really don't know much about it. Well, I haven't had training in whatever it is that we're deficient. Immediately, I can plug you in with 1, 2, 3 instructional coaches. I can plug you in with supervisors. I can plug you in with mentor teachers. And the mentoring program is something that ran through my office that will sit down and help you create strategies that make you a better teacher. Now, that said, if we've worked through all of this and we've done all we can do to help, and there is still no difference, our children are not going to suffer. What I'm going to do is help you find something else where you can contribute to society, but not now in our school system, because it's time with a child is too critical and we can't afford to waste it. So I'm going to exhaust every option to try to help. And if I'm not able to help with all the resources that we have in this school system, then we're going to move to another line of work. We've got 5 years to make that determination. And even if a teacher is tenured and now is not up to what needs to be the expectation, then we're going to guide and take a firm hand and see what we can do.
Thank you, sir. What experience do you have regarding fiscal operations that would aid you in developing and proposing a district budget?
I have, I look back, I have so many things that have helped me be a great manager of money. I think first and foremost, you got to take a look at can you take care of your own house? Okay, do you pay your bills? And I'm humbled to tell you that even though there was a time when I didn't know how we were going to survive, at this point in time, my broker will tell you that my credit rating is in the top 10% of the entire world. And as is my wife's. We're both at an 850 credit rating. Doesn't mean I'm a multi-gazillionaire. It means I manage my money. It means I pay my bills. It means I don't overextend myself. I'm not like the federal government. I don't spend my way out of debt, okay? So you realize what your means are and you stay within your means. And that's something that I learned at an early age from my dad. As far as other life experiences, I was president for a decade for Gatlinburg Town Square Property Owners Association, timeshare place that had 3,500 members. That budget was always balanced, and our members were always taken care of. When I came on to the TSBA Board of Directors, my first officer's job was as treasurer of TSBA. So I've been treasurer of TSBA, and Tammy Grissom will tell you that there was a year when there was a treasurer who said, we need to figure out a way to pay off our facility. We're paying too much in interest that could go into serving school systems better. And you know what? That treasurer built a plan, executed the plan, and we paid off that debt. I was that treasurer. Tammy Grissom will tell you all about it. But when I saw the cost benefit of let's bite the bullet and pay this off with what we've got, we saved a tremendous amount of interest money, which made us operate free and clear, and TSBA is free and clear. Now, I was principal at Tellico Plains High School for a decade. Every single audit we had was pristine. There were no findings. There were no exceptions ever. We were lauded for the record keeping that took place at Tellico Plains High School. And I'm going to tell you, you can go back right now, and I could have done this, but I didn't. You go back to the books from when I was principal, you will not find one single solitary check written to Dan Schlafer. Could have many times been reimbursed for this or that. I didn't do it because I didn't think it would look right. School books, writing a check to Dan, clearly it was okay. It was allowable. Never did it because I don't even want to look like I'm doing something wrong. And I didn't do that. And I don't cast aspersions on anybody, any principal who has. That's just how I did business. So from there, Monroe County's federal programs budget, always taken care of by the book. Cumberland County, 2017, we were on-site monitored the year after I became federal programs. That's standard. You get a new federal programs guy. That year in the state of Tennessee, they on-site monitored 17 school systems. There was one school system who had a perfect monitoring program and fiscal monitoring. Not a single compliance action plan in programs or fiscal. That school system was the Cumberland County school system. You can look it up. We were the only system that had a perfect monitoring. So I have experience dealing with money. And now, little did I know that I'd be working in Hamilton County. You know, I'm in a much larger school system with much, much, much more money. But budgeting has always been a strong suit. And I'm going to tell you that in Cumberland County, in 2017, we faced a $400,000 deficit in Title I. Our allocation was $400,000 less than the year we had before. And not a single person lost their job, nor did anybody in the Monroe County school system in 2008 lose their job in federal programs, when every single county that touched us did lay off somebody. That's because I put a premium on people and we rebudgeted. The $400,000 ended up being only $200,000, but from that point, I began to squirrel away money. And I've got some numbers for you. When I walked away from here July 1st, in the bank, in reserve, in carryover, in Title I, I left you $350,812.57. In Title II, I left you $110,746.57. In Title IV, I left you $63,669.10. In Title V, I left you $123,904.32. Those are accurate figures from E-Plan. And so what that did was give Cumberland County a cushion. And I know that Dr. Maxwell has continued that cushion, and that means that next year when things get tough because of what all's happened here, guess what? Cumberland County's federal programs is going to operate like they should. And that's because you've got to plan ahead and put a little behind.
Thank you, sir. How do you operate with more mandates and less funding?
I think it's prioritizing your goals and doing prioritized budgeting. You know, what is most important? What do we need as over against what do we want? What do we have to do over against what did we used to do? And this happens more and more with state and federal mandates, and it's a fact of life. We have to do that. So what this means is we consolidate services. We sometimes consolidate what people are doing and the programs that they are handling, and we ensure that those people are recognized for their work. And I'm going to give you an example right here in this building. There was a year when we were rocking along, and the year had ended, and all of a sudden someone said, "Read to be ready." That's going to be under federal programs, and that's when the program had already started, and it was summertime. We had no clue that they were going to give that to us. We took it and added it to everything else that we did. I'll give you another example where I've been involved personally. You know, when when our CTE director fell ill here while I was still employed in Cumberland County, and it was obvious that he was going to be out for a while, Dr. Wood came to me and she said, Dan, can you please go help with CTE? You're the only one that really knows E-Plan, and they need help. They've got a grant that's got to be filed. Of course. You stop what you're doing and you go help out. And that's what we do as a school system. It's what we do. It's what we do. We're used to this. It's nothing new. We're going to prioritize, and if it needs to be done right now, we're going to close ranks and get it done.
Thank you. At this point, I want to open the floor to board members that might have another question. If you'd raise your hand. We're running a little bit short on time this time, and maybe some of you may have questions that have been answered through the questions that have been asked. So if anyone has a question, just let me know. Ms. Cargan.
Hi, Mr. Schlafer. Thank
Yes,
you
ma'am.
for being here today. Having been a board member and now possibly DOS, what is the one piece of advice that you would give yourself as a board member to yourself as DOS?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. I think it's be informed, ask questions, express your views, tell me what you think, because you represent a large group of people who put you where you are. That would be my advice, and suggestions that you would give, I would welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Inman?
You knew I was going to ask mine.
Mr.
That's
Safety?
fine, yeah.
We've got Mr. Safety.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr.
So
Safety.
go ahead and let Mr. Safety ask his.
Okay, I'll come to you next. Okay, we're ready.
Okay. First of all, Mr. Schlafer, I would like to thank you for your presentation. It has been certainly inspirational. I listened with full attention to everything that you said. I
Thank
had a question that was related to something that you already answered, and it was regarding COVID. And I'll look forward to reading your plan of action or your ideas on what to do. So I'm going to do something a little different, but still within line of my question, and that is, so you're presenting this you have this document, and we'll just call it a straw man document of things that you see that are important for COVID. How important is it for your staff to be, if you're placed in this position of director, for your staff to be a participant in creating and expanding that document?
Yes, thank you. And it's imperative, and I actually deal with that in the document that I wrote. We'll have a group of people. We'll have a task force of people. They will have to be involved. And here's just one tiny bit. I see coming down the road, there's a possibility that there may be some hybrid learning, part in person and part online. But you know what? Kindergarten, first, second grade children, we're not going to be able to teach them a whole lot virtually. I mean, kindergarten, first, second grade is kind of like herding grasshoppers. And to captivate them for any length of time in a virtual setting is tough. So we got to have that personal connection as well. And so that's why somebody like Dr. Becky Farley, who is an expert in elementary education, well-respected, well-renowned, would provide great insight into how we could deliver hybrid learning to that group of people. When you get 9 through 12, okay, many of them now, if they weren't before, are used to virtual learning, and we can do some creative, innovative things there. But there are people in this building that I need to hear from and that I will hear from every single department, whether it's technology, whether it's federal programs, whether it's school nutrition, whether it's special education, whether it's human services or the executive staff or Dr. Farley or our nurses or school health, all of them have to be at the table.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Inman first, and then I'll get you, Tony.
I was in line. Okay. Mr. Schlafer, each year over $3 million of the school system's fund balance is being used to balance the budget. What steps will you take to prevent the depletion of the fund balance?
Yeah, that's critical, and in miniature, that's what I did in federal programs. We've got to get to a place where we are able to sustain even in rough times, and to use fund balance for non-reoccurring expenses, to me, is not in our best interest, especially now. And so what we're going to have to do, Mr. Inman, is carefully look at each line item and make sure that we're spending appropriately. And I know that every budget that's ever been created has some leeway. It has a little wiggle room. Okay, so if the wiggle room is there for a purpose and we really need it because we anticipate something coming down the road, okay, we're not going to mess with that much. But if we've got places where we can repurpose money so that we don't have to use fund balance, you know, that's in our best interest. Right now, our budget's $58 million, okay, but that's the expenditures. But the revenues are 55.7. That doesn't make sense to me, and we can't continue that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brock?
Dan, I was going to let this go, but you did some department drops, so I'm going to go ahead and ask.
Go right ahead, please.
Do you anticipate a need to replace, reassign, or restructure personnel assignments within the central office or perhaps within the schools administration?
We may have to do that, and I will take a strong look at that. And I'm not prepared at this moment to say what or how many, but if we can do what one of these wise questions was, you know, if we can do more with less at this time, I think it behooves us to take a look at that. You know, particularly if, and I'm not saying put somebody out on the street, but if we've got a position where someone may be retiring or resigning, we've got to take a look at how we can restructure right now and make a better, see if there's a better way to go. Have to. There's no doubt about it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Schlafer, are there any areas that we've not covered that you'd like to address or give a closing statement?
No, I just am, I've enjoyed this so much, and I'm humbled and grateful that you are considering me. I would ask that you call me if you have further questions. You know, I am what I am. I'm an open book, and I will be as transparent today as I have been before and will continue to be. I want what's best for our school system. That's bottom line. I think that I have, as I've said more than once, you know, when I look back on where I've been and what I've done, I'm blessed. And I personally believe that I can make a difference and make us better. But I'm going to tell you this. If you think there's somebody better, I want you to hire them. Because that's what I want. I want what you think is the very best we can have in Cumberland County. And if I'm not it, I'm fine with you saying, you know what, Dan, thanks, but this other person is better, and they'll do a better job. That will not hurt my feelings, because I love Cumberland County. It's meant so much to me, meant so much to my family. You know, I want the job, yes. Do I need the job? I do not. I'll be honest with you, I don't. You know, when I came back here in 2015, I'm blessed. I don't need to work. I want to work. There's a difference in getting up every morning going, man, I get to go do that. and I can make a difference. The other advantage to wanting the job rather than needing the job is that I'd be in a unique position to always do what you and I think is right. It might not be the most politically popular thing, but you know what? Again, when I say this, I say it in all humility. I remember what it was like to have a lot of worries. I'll never forget that. I also remember what it feels like to have enough. And for me, right and wrong is the most important thing. It's the most important thing. Just do what's right. Just do what's right. You think it's right, and I'm thinking it's right, and the whole community thinks it's wrong. We're going to do what's right. And that's the freedom that I would have as your director, because I'm not worried about the next paycheck. And in that vein, I will tell you that I will never accept a pay raise if I'm your director of schools, ever. And you can put that in my contract. Any pay raise I'm due will go back to teachers. You can take it to the bank that I will continue to support the Cumberland County Schools Charitable Foundation as I have in the past, whether I'm your director or not, because that money goes right back into our school system and it helps our schools. So for me, it would be a joy. It would be a joy to be your director under these circumstances and to be able to come back to work and put my energy and my enthusiasm and my passion for this place to try to make it better and to take us through a tough time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Schlafer.
Thank you.
Got 15 minutes or 10?
Let's take a few minutes.
Okay.
Can we,
I think we can. You want to try to start at 2:30? Okay,
if you don't mind?
I think that's fine.
You have one of those for Rob?
I've got you.
Yes.